Does the name Kurgan ring any bells? No? I thought so. To tell you the truth, I never heard of this place either. But there must be something to this place, otherwise it wouldn't exist, right? Okay, enough chit-chat, let's start the video. Hello, and welcome to 7 Facts. Welcome to Kurgan, a faraway place somewhere in Russia that you probably know nothing about. This region, or oblast, is located in the West Siberian Plains, houses 800,000 people, most of whom are of course Russians, but also Tatars, Bashkirs, Cossacks, Ukrainians and even Germans. Throughout history, this area has also been known as the Gate to Siberia, so it's not such an unknown place as you might have thought. If you visit the place, you won't find a lot of geographical features. Most of Kurgan is flat. It does have some 3,000 lakes though. So, is there anything else to mention about Kurgan? What on earth is so interesting about this place? Let's find out. For nearly 20,000 years, people have been settling in Kurgan, but the first recorded Russian presence occurred in 1679, when some free Cossacks established the city of Tsarevo Gorodishche. Life played out pretty much uneventful for the folks of Kurgan in those years. But for those in the empire who had a beef with the government, Kurgan often became their home. The province quickly turned into a place of exile due to its remoteness. After the construction of the Trans-Siberian Railway, Kurgan began to develop more and transitioned to a more industrialized society. And thanks to the events that played out in Europe during the 1940s, many factories from European Russia were transferred to Kurgan, which really boosted its economy. Now, of course I skipped a lot of chapters, but this is the very simplified version of the modern history of Kurgan. The region's main economic, scientific and cultural center is of course its capital. A city of 300,000, Kurgan was the first established in the oblast by the Russian Empire. First called Tsarevo Gorodishche, it was later renamed Kurgan after some Bronze and Iron Age burial mounds found here. Kurgan means mound, by the way. Since this is the main urban center, the city is packed with lots and lots of factories, which is good for the economy, but let's just say that the environment isn't exactly pristine. But still, Kurgan isn't to be ignored. Its historical center is still intact, and there are over 100 landmarks and cultural sites spread throughout the city. The coolest one is probably the Aviation Museum, full of actual planes and helicopters. So, before you head out to explore the oblast, take a stroll in this city first. It might be worth it. There is something that was invented in Kurgan and is now used all over the world. It's a medical procedure, the transosseous osteosynthesis, or the Ilizarov Procedure. It was invented by Gavril Abramovich Ilizarov and is used to lengthen or reshape limb bones. The apparatus that's used is fixed to the bones in question, and periodically the distances between the fractured bones are adjusted, while at the same time relieving the foot of weight stress. This allows the bone to heal more easily or in the correct shape. Obviously, this can also be used to lengthen limbs, although I wouldn't recommend the procedure for just a few centimeters. Pain is severe, the risk of infection is pretty high, and physical therapy is needed for full recovery. In spite of this, there are of course those who would actually endure such risks just to gain a little more height. The remnants of ages gone by are few and far between on this earth. But the location of today's Kurgan was once an ancient burial site, and its remains survived into the modern era. At first, it was rumored that the burial mounds were the final resting place of the daughter of a Siberian Khan, but that wasn't the case. It was in fact a collection of Bronze Age tombs on top of even older tombs from the Iron Age. The mound was huge, about 92 meters in diameter and 5.5 meters high. In the 60s, excavations were carried out and lots of tools, weapons, ceramics and even a skeleton were found. Unfortunately, the burial mound is nowhere to be found today. It was destroyed during the 1960s to make room for a new neighborhood of Kurgan city. Are you a fan of military vehicles? Especially Russian military vehicles? Well, Kurgan is the source of many infantry fighting machines. The Kurgan Zavod plant, which has been around since the 1950s, is currently building the famous BMP fighting vehicles that are currently in use in over 24 countries. They also build other stuff too, by the way. But you don't really get the chance to see them in Kurgan though. The vehicles are sent straight into the Russian army or export, so you'll only get to see one of these vehicles in action, which I'm guessing is not exactly ideal. Hey, but at least you'll know where they were built. Do your bones ache? Does arthritis make your life miserable, or maybe some other ailments torture your everyday life? Well, maybe it's time you visit Kurgan. The place has nearly 3,000 lakes and many of them have therapeutic properties. Take for example Lake Medvesia or Bear Lake. This is a saltwater lake and its waters are said to heal. The silt mud is also used to treat a variety of diseases, including nervous and musculoskeletal problems. Of course, there are enough resorts and sanatoriums here to accommodate any visitor. But don't drink the water though, it's incredibly salty, about as salty as the Dead Sea. Please leave a like and subscribe if you enjoyed this content. Leave your comments downstairs and don't forget there's a Patreon page where you can support this channel. I hope to see you next time. Bye.